The Grand Lux Hotel stood as a beacon of opulence in the heart of the city. Its grandeur was unmatched, boasting crystal chandeliers, velvet drapes, and polished marble floors that reflected the wealth of its guests. It wasn't just a hotel, it was a symbol of status, where the powerful mingled and the less fortunate served. Among the hotel's staff was Ethan, a waiter known for his humility and diligence. At 26 years old, Ethan was no stranger to hardship. After losing his parents at a young age, he worked tirelessly to support his younger sister, Emily, who was pursuing her dreams of becoming a doctor. Ethan's life revolved around his work at the hotel, where he endured long hours and demanding guests without complaint. Despite the challenges, he carried himself with quiet pride and an unshakable belief in treating everyone with respect. One particularly busy afternoon, a flashy sports car pulled up to the hotel entrance. Out stepped Mr. and Mrs. Carter, a wealthy couple infamous for their arrogance and disdain for those they deemed beneath them. Regular patrons of the Grand Lux, the Carters enjoyed throwing their weight around, often making unreasonable demands of the staff. Ethan was assigned to serve their table in the exclusive VIP lounge. As he approached with his usual polite demeanor, Mrs. Carter barely looked up from her diamond-encrusted phone. "Where have you been? We've been waiting for ages," she snapped. "I'm terribly sorry for the delay, madam," Ethan said, bowing slightly. "How may I assist you today?" Mrs. Carter's eyes narrowed as she scanned Ethan from head to toe. "First, get us some water, and make sure it's cold, not room temperature. Do you think we're paying to drink tap water?" Ethan nodded. "Of course, madam. Right away." As Ethan walked away, Mr. Carter leaned toward his wife and whispered loudly enough for Ethan to hear, "These people don't belong in a place like this. Look at his shoes, probably bought from a flea market." Their laughter echoed across the lounge, but Ethan kept his head high. Years of enduring such comments had taught him the art of composure. When Ethan returned with their drinks, Mrs. Carter's mood hadn't improved. She inspected the glass of water as if searching for a flaw. "What is this?" she demanded, pointing to a tiny speck on the rim. "Do you call this service?" "I sincerely apologize, madam," Ethan said, taking the glass. "I'll bring a fresh one immediately." "Unbelievable," Mrs. Carter exclaimed. "Do you even train your staff here, or do you hire anyone off the streets?" Her words stung, but Ethan remained calm. As he walked back to the kitchen, the Carters continued their tirade, their voices loud enough to attract the attention of other guests. Some watched in pity, while others pretended not to notice. Moments later, Ethan returned with a fresh glass of water and their appetizers. He placed the plates carefully, ensuring everything was perfect. But as he turned to leave, Mrs. Carter accidentally knocked her glass over, spilling water onto her designer dress. "You idiot!" she screamed. "Look what you've done! This dress costs more than you make in a year!" Ethan's face burned with humiliation as other guests turned to watch. The manager rushed over, apologizing profusely to the Carters and reprimanding Ethan in front of everyone. "Go to the back and stay there until I call you," the manager hissed. Later that evening, Ethan sat in the break room, staring at the floor. His co-worker and best friend Lucas tried to comfort him. "Don't let them get to you, Ethan. People like that think money makes them better, but it doesn't." Ethan sighed. "Sometimes I wonder if all this effort is worth it." Unbeknownst to Ethan, someone else had been observing the entire incident. Andrew Scott, the billionaire owner of the Grand Lux hotel chain. Disguised as a regular guest, Andrew often visited his properties unannounced to ensure they upheld his standards. That day, he'd been seated near the Carters and had witnessed their behavior toward Ethan. The next morning, Ethan was surprised to receive a call from the general manager's office. Nervously, he made his way upstairs, expecting another reprimand. Instead, he found himself face to face with a tall, well-dressed man who introduced himself as Andrew Scott. "Good morning, Ethan," Andrew said with a warm smile. "Please, have a seat." Ethan hesitated, then sat down. "Sir, it's an honor to meet you." Andrew studied him for a moment. "I was at the hotel yesterday and saw how you handled a very difficult situation. Despite the way you were treated, you remained professional and respectful. That's not something everyone can do." Ethan's eyes widened in surprise. "Thank you, sir. I just try to do my job." "You do more than that," Andrew said, "and it hasn't gone unnoticed. I'd like to offer you a promotion. Effective immediately, you'll be the guest relations manager." Ethan was speechless. "Me? But sir, Andrew held up a hand. "No need to be modest. You've earned this. And one more thing. I'm personally covering your sister's medical school fees." Tears welled up in Ethan's eyes. "Sir, I don't know how to thank you." "Just keep doing what you're doing," Andrew said with a smile. A month later, the Carters returned to the hotel, unaware of the recent changes. Spotting Ethan at the front desk in his new uniform, they smirked. "Still here?" Mr. Carter sneered. "I thought they'd fire you after that disaster." Ethan smiled politely. "Good afternoon, Mr. and Mrs. Carter. Welcome back. How may I assist you?" Before they could respond, Andrew Scott appeared beside Ethan. "Is there a problem?" The Carters froze, recognizing Andrew from media headlines. No, not at all," Mrs. Carter stammered. Andrew's eyes hardened. "Ethan is now the guest relations manager of this hotel. If you have any issues, you'll report directly to him." The Carters' faces turned red with embarrassment. They mumbled an apology and hurried away, leaving Ethan to enjoy a quiet moment of triumph. As Ethan settled into his new role, Andrew called him into his office once more. "I've been watching how you've managed things over the past month," Andrew said, "and I'm impressed. So much so that I've decided to make you an offer." Ethan leaned forward, intrigued. "I want you to be the general manager of our newest Grand Lux branch," Andrew said. "And as part of the deal, I'm giving you a 10% ownership stake." Ethan's jaw dropped. "Sir, I don't know what to say." "Say yes," Andrew said with a grin. "You've earned it." The moral of the story is that respect and kindness are virtues that cost nothing but mean everything. True success is not measured by wealth or status, but by how we treat others. Hard work, humility, and integrity always pay off, sometimes in ways we least expect. If this story inspired you or gave you chills, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with your friends and family. And hey, if you want more powerful and emotional stories like this one, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. We'd also love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below about this story. And if you enjoyed this story, give it a big thumbs up. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that touch hearts and inspire change. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next story.